All right, so for math today, we are reading word problems that have to do with our customary units that we just went over. And so there's going to be some reading, so make sure that you're reading your problems carefully, okay? So we're going to do an example problem together. And so I have a pool. I'm going to draw this. I have a pool, and it is 60 feet by 25 yards. Okay. So already we see that our units are different here, but we know that we can easily convert that if we need to. So my ultimate goal for this problem is to find the perimeter of the pool. So remember, perimeter is 2 times L plus 2 times H or W. So my length times height, or my base times height or width, okay? So what I'm going to do first is I have to get my units matching, okay? So I'm actually going to convert my yards into feet. So, and again, if you have an easier way of doing this, that's great. But I'm going to show you that little like equation setup that we did yesterday with time. So I have 25, I forgot my yards. And I want to turn that into feet. Now remember, my units have to be kind of crisscross from each other or diagonal of each other so they can cross out. So if I have yards on the bottom, I need to get to feet. So I know that in 1 yard, I have 3 feet. Okay. So now we are going to cross those out. I'm left with feet, which is what I'm trying to get to. And I'm going to multiply straight across. So 25 times 3, that is going to give me 75 feet. Okay, so I know that my yards equals 75 feet. So now I have 2 units that are the same, my feet, and I can easily find my perimeter now. So I can now go P equals, and I'm going to start with my variable, length, so 75 times 2, plus my height, which is 60, times 2. And so now I'm going to actually solve that. So let's solve it. So I have 75 times 2. If we need to do it this way, we can. That is okay. 5 times 2 is 10. My 7 times 2 is 14. Plus 1 is 15. So I have P equals 150 plus, and then we can do that with 60 as well if we need to. 60 times 2 is 120. And now I'm going to add them together. So P equals 270 feet. And that is our perimeter. That is how we get that answer, okay? So now if you're following along, if you're able to see your pages, we're going to move on to the guided practice. So in the example on the previous page, so that's what we just did. We just solved this. How could you find the perimeter by converting all measurements to yards? So we started by converting to feet. So now let's try it converting to yards. So I'm going to draw my pool again. I have 60 feet here, 25 yards here. So now I'm going to start with 60 feet as my first number in my little equation structure. Now remember, my feet have to go on the bottom so I can cross out. What goes on the bottom is 3. What goes on top is yards. So I have 3 feet in 1 yard. I'm now able to cross out my feet. We are going to multiply straight across. It's going to give me 60 over 3. So now we're going to divide If you can do this simply in your head, that is great. I know 3 goes into 6 2 times. So 60 divided by 3 is 20. So my 60 feet can now be 20 yards. Okay, and now we're going to go through the same process of solving for our perimeter, but using our new number. Okay, so I know P equals length times 2 plus width times 2. All right, so my length, we can keep it the same, is 25 yards times 2. And my width is now 20 yards. 20 times 2. So 25 times 2, that gives me 50. 20 times 2 gives me 40. So my perimeter is 50 plus 40 gives me 90 yards. So our answers are different. The first time when we converted to feet, we had 240. This one down here, we have 90. But real quick, just because we can, we're going to take 90 times 3. Now, the reason I did that is because 3 feet are in 1 yard. And I'm going to see if my 90 times 3 is going to give me 270. So 0 times 3 is 0. And then I'm going to take 9 times 3, which in fact does give me 27. So we know that we did both of these problems correctly. One we converted into feet and the other we converted into yards. All right. So question 2 on your guided practice actually wants you guys to write a real world multiple step problem that involves measurements. So we just solved on those problems. There was multiple steps. We were solving for a measurement. And the first one we solved for feet. Second one we solved for yards. My challenge to you guys is to make your own word problem, send it to me, and then together we're going to try to solve some of your own problems, okay? So that's just a little challenge for you guys. All right, so we're going to actually move on to question 3 of the guided practice. So question 3 says that Stacia needs enough ribbon to wrap around the length and the height of a box. If the length is 2 feet and the height is 4 inches, how much ribbon will she need? Okay, so again, we have 2 different units. My length is 2 feet and my height is 4 inches. Okay, so I need to get to either inches or feet. I personally am going to start with my feet and I want to get to inches. So 2 feet, I know I'm going to have feet down here for my unit and I'm going to have inches on top. So now I need to figure out how many feet and how many inches. So I have 1 foot and 12 inches. My feet can cross out. I'm multiplying straight across. 2 times 12 is 24 over 1. So 24 inches. We knew that. You guys probably did that in your head the second you saw 2 feet. And I said, let's put it into inches. So 24 inches for my length. And then I have 4 inches for my height. So this problem again is wanting our perimeter. So perimeter, we're going to do length times 2 plus height times 2. So my length is 2 feet or 24 inches times 2. My height is 4 inches times 2. So we are going to solve that. 24 times 2 gives me 48. 4 times 2 gives me 8. We're going to add those, and my perimeter is going to be 56 inches. Okay. Now you can solve, if you would have rather flipped and done inches into feet, that is totally up to you. It's just kind of a preference. All right, so our last problem on the guided practice. It says if ribbon is sold in whole number yards and costs $1.50 per yard, how much will it cost Stacia to buy ribbon? So I have 1 yard equals $1.50. Okay. So now I have to figure out, I'm going to have to take 56 inches and get it into yards. Okay, this is going to be in multiple steps, okay? So I'm going to start with 56 inches. I'm going to put inches on the bottom so we can cross those out. And I know that I have 12 inches into 1 foot. Okay. But I'm at feet. I'm not to yards yet. So I have to do another little bar. My feet are going to go on the bottom. My ultimate goal is to get to yards. Yards on top. Now I need to put how many feet are in 1 yard. I know that 3 feet is the same as 1 yard. So this one's multiple step, okay? So I can cross out my inches. Those cancel. My feet cancel. And so now I'm left with yards, which is what I'm trying to figure out. So now I'm going to multiply straight across. So I have 56. Then I'm going to take 12 times 3, which is 36. Okay. Not the best looking numbers, right? But we are going to divide that. Or if you just know off the top of your head, 36 can only go into 56 one time. I'm going to subtract that. I'm left with 20. So I have 1 yard. And then this is going to be my inches. And 20 inches. Okay. So, but my question wants to know, so if my ribbon is sold in whole number yards and costs $1.50 per yard, how much will it cost Stacia to buy the ribbon? Okay, they are wanting whole yards. Well, I have 1 whole yard, but I don't have another whole yard. So I know I'm already going to have $1.50. Oops. Ignore that decimal. $1.50 for this yard. But I still have to pay for a whole nother yard because I am over a whole. Okay, so I'm going to take $1.50 plus $1.50, and that is going to give me $3. So Stacia has to pay $3 to get enough yard to wrap all the way around her present, okay? So that was a kind of a lot. And so for your assignment today, if you're doing the independent practice, it's going to flip between customary, it's going to flip between length and weight. So I hope that you wrote down a little cheat sheet for yourself to help you out. Remember, you can always email me if you have any questions. I will be here to help. Hope you guys have a great day.